Is Issey Miyake Le Sel de Issey the Eau de Toilette one of the best and most unique freshies released in the last few years? Let's talk about it. So we have sea salt and ginger at the top, and seaweed and vetiver at the heart of it, and cedarwood and oakmoss at the base. For all you bottle freaks out there, this is the bottle and I kinda like it. When it comes to price, I paid about 50 bucks for 50 ml of Le Sel de Issey the Eau de Toilette, which definitely makes it more affordable if you compare it to most other fresh fragrances released nowadays. But here's the thing, I bought this in a gift box together with like a small bottle of shower gel, and the reason for that is super simple. That gift box was actually cheaper than if I would have bought the bottle on its own. And here's a tip for you: make sure you take a look at gift boxes when you're about to buy a fragrance, because sometimes that fragrance in a gift box is actually cheaper than a fragrance on its own. So quite often with freshies, the notes sort of trickle in one by one, but I do feel that as soon as you spray it on, yeah, this thing pretty much goes all in right away. And Le Sel de Issey, at least on my skin, goes all in on quite an intense dose of freshness right away. So right away, this, at least on my skin, is definitely sort of a salty fresh. The ginger is definitely cutting through right away with quite a nice dose of spicy freshness. And pretty much right away in the opening, you also get a noticeable dose of marine freshness. So to my nose, it opens up with quite an intense dose of marine freshness that's quite noticeably sort of a salty. And it has a really nice spicy freshness to it as well. The seaweed gives it a bit of a twist. If you compare the marine freshness of Le Sel de Issey, the Eau de Toilette, with other intensely marine fresh scents, you will most likely be able to smell a bit of a difference. And I mean, the whole thing right away is intensely fresh, but I also feel this has, and this will sound a bit weird, but I also feel it has transparent, almost transparent kind of feel to it. So whereas some marine fresh scents can be right in your face, intensely sort of aquatic and marine, this is very much a prominent dose of marine freshness, but it also has a lighter kind of feel to it. And the more it moves away from the opening and into the heart of it, the more I pick up on quite a smooth dose of woodiness. It still has that prominent dose of marine freshness. It's definitely quite intensely salty, and it still has that really nice dose of spicy freshness. But I do feel that once Le Sel de Issey, the Eau de Toilette, hits the mids, the whole thing starts to get a bit more woody. And the intense freshness of it, if you compare the mids to the opening, I do feel the whole feel of it starts to get a bit rounder and fuller, and at the same time smoother. But, and again, this might sound a bit weird, I do feel that even though the whole thing starts to get more intensely fresh, rounder, fuller and smoother at the heart of it, it's still intensely fresh, but intensely fresh in an almost transparent kind of way. I still do not feel this has a heavy kind of marine freshness to it. Yes, its marine freshness is very prominent and very easily noticeable, but it does have a gorgeous, transparent and light kind of feel to it. The more it goes into the dry down, the more a prominent but at the same time smooth dose of woodiness is cutting through. But I mean, it's still quite intensely fresh. So I do feel that once this thing hits the dry down, it's basically marine freshness meets woodiness. It's still a bit salty, and it's definitely still a bit spicy fresh. The woodiness in the dry down is very noticeable and brings to the whole thing quite a bit of balance and gives the whole thing a masculine feel. However, I do not feel that its woody side is sharp in any way. It's prominent, but it has this sort of a softness and smoothness to it. I'm pretty sure someone in the comments is going to disagree with me on this, but I actually feel Le Sel de Issey is quite a unique fresh fragrance. However, with that said, something in this makes me think at least a little bit of the freshness that I get from some of the ones in the aquatic line. So this is the Eau de Parfum, and the reason why I'm holding the Eau de Parfum is because it's the one in the line that has quite a noticeable sort of a soft saltiness to it. I do feel Le Sel de Issey is a lot more salty if you compare it to this, but something in this reminds me of something that I can find in the aquatic line. But with that said, I do not feel these are the same. The aquatic line has its signature aquatic kind of feel, and I do feel this goes in its own unique direction. And one way to sort of sum Le Sel de Issey up is that this is mostly a marine kind of freshness with a prominent saltiness to it, a bit of spicy freshness from ginger, and the whole thing has quite a prominent dose of woodiness in the dry down. It's intense saltiness and the marine-like freshness that you get from seaweed, together with its sort of a transparent kind of feel, is what I think makes this quite a unique one. So what's the vibe of Le Sel de Issey? I do not feel this is an overly sexy kind of scent. I definitely have other fresh scents with a bigger dose of sexy freshness to them, but I do feel Le Sel de Issey is more about a classic kind of freshness, and I do feel this is a more mature and elegant kind of freshness. So let's move on to compliments and mass appeal. So the first few times I wore Le Sel de Issey, I really did not think I would get compliments with it. However, I was surprised how much people seem to like it. And I do feel for this kind of scent, i.e. something that is quite marine and quite salty and spicy fresh, this actually is quite likable. However, this is nowhere near the level of mass appeal like some of my most complimented freshes. I don't think you should expect an extreme compliment getting kind of fresh scent, but this is definitely quite a likable fresher. And I do think that's thanks to its sort of a light and almost transparent kind of marine freshness. So let's talk about performance. I was really surprised the first time I sprayed on Le Sel de Issey because it's easily noticeable to those around you, and it definitely, at least on my skin, lasts quite a while. I rarely get really good performance from freshies, and this almost rivals the performance of my Kenzos, and I'm putting the performance of Le Sel de Issey somewhere around 7 for both projection and longevity. So let's talk about the usage. So like seasons and occasions, this is mostly an intensely marine and woody kind of scent, and I mostly reach for this kind of scent on intensely warm summer days, or whenever I want an intensely fresh vibe on me. So main seasons, definitely spring and summer with a focus on warm summer days, but you could definitely wear this throughout the year if you want. As for occasions, basically pretty much anything you do on a warm summer day, or you could wear it to the gym. You could definitely wear Le Sel de Issey when going on a date on a warm summer day. However, I would probably spray on something with a bit more sexy freshness to it. So who is Le Sel de Issey for? This is actually a tricky one, and I would highly recommend to try it out before you buy it. But to sort of simplify the whole thing, if you usually enjoy quite intensely marine scents that are also quite intensely salty with a bit of woodiness, then this might be for you. If the ingredients are ingredients you usually do not enjoy, then it's probably better to stay away. So what are some of the alternatives to Le Sel de Issey? So this is in a way a bit tricky because whatever I'm going to say is not going to be exactly like this. But for a fantastic marine focus scent that I think has a lot of uniqueness to it, you have Kenzo Homme EDT Intense and the Epic Kenzo Homme Marine. I know I gotta do a new Kenzo Homme comparison that includes the newer one, but I'm gonna link to my Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum EDT Intense and Homme Marine comparison somewhere up here and in the description below. And when we're talking about marine or aquatic focus scents, it's pretty much impossible not to mention something from the Epic Aquatic line. I do feel it's pretty much impossible to go wrong with Aquatic Profondo. The perfume smells absolutely fantastic, and if you want a twist to that Epic Aquatic DNA, then definitely make sure you check out Aquatic Elixir. I'm gonna link to my Aquatic Elixir review somewhere up here and in the description below. So what are my final thoughts on Issey Miyake Le Sel de Issey, the Eau de Toilette? So before I share what I think about it, I gotta give a big thanks to everyone who recommended me in the comments to try it out. It's all thanks to your comments that made me so curious about it. Le Sel de Issey is all about marine freshness that's quite intensely salty with a bit of spicy freshness, and the whole thing is balanced up by a bit of woodiness in the dry down. The seaweed with its sort of a unique twist to marine freshness, together with the saltiness and the, again, this might sound weird, but the sort of a transparent or lighter feel of the marine freshness of it, definitely makes this quite a unique one, at least to my nose. I have a lot of marine and aquatic fresh scents, but I do feel the lighter and almost transparent feel of this makes it stand out in a really good way. And the really good performance of it is a fantastic bonus. And to answer the question I asked in the beginning of this video, do I feel this is one of the more unique and one of the better fresh fragrances released in the last few years? The answer to that is definitely yes. I'm going to give Issey Miyake Le Sel de Eau de Toilette something around 8, almost flirting with 8.5. This very noticeable, almost transparent and light kind of freshness is something I truly enjoy wearing. So this is where I want to hear from you. How do you feel about Le Sel de Issey, the Eau de Toilette? Do you think this is a fantastic fragrance? Do you think it's sort of okay? Do you feel it's really bad or just mid? Let me know in the comments. Please drop a like and subscribe for more, and make sure you check out my other videos over there.